This video contains major spoilers of the storyline of God of War 4. Please be advised. I don't know if I'm playing God of War, The Last of Us, or Hellblade.
But who's worthy enough to judge?
God of War 3 came out in 2010, and we all thought that was the end of the series. But 8 years later, God of War 4 came out, and it's a new chapter and a new era of the series. I'm peck324, and let's review this game. The story is well plotted, made a common link with the mythology itself, and shows a nostalgia relation to the God of War series. If you guys really wanted to know how Kratos came to Midgard, got married, and had a child named Atreus, basically it's all started in the digital comic book by Dark Horse, and they've already show a free download, which is volume 0. If you need to know more on the story itself, you can go to Dark Horse's website, or a website that has all of Dark Horse's digital comic book. You can purchase them and hope that you would enjoy the story. But basically this is how it goes. In God of War 3, basically Kratos did kill himself, in which we believe he gave up his god powers and gave it to all the people from what used to be Olympus. And at the end of this scene of God of War 3, he basically crawls and jumps off a cliff, in which we believe, okay, God of War 4 might be confirmed. But we didn't know until 8 years. Well, technically 5 years after the release, but 8 years total. So Kratos met this woman. Her name is Faye. She was a warrior, pretty much like Kratos, but she's also a giant, which Kratos didn't know. She's basically a giant disguised as a human. So basically, both of them fell in love, and they created a child named Atreus. And basically, somehow, Atreus got a weird sickness along with his mother, but all of a sudden Faye passed away, and Kratos and Atreus burned her body and carried her ashes to the topest mountain in all the 9 realms. It wasn't Midgard. It was in Jotunheim, which is the land of the giants. Because like I said, Faye was a giant. During Kratos and Atreus' travel, they made a witch named Freya, in which she's also a god. And pretty much she helps them out throughout their journey, not by combat, but as like knowledge and some tactics on what to do during their travels or in a puzzle, so and so. After that, they met a being who has the knowledge of everything, and he also travels with Kratos and Atreus, but not with a body. I forgot his name, but it starts with a me, but I'm gonna call him Mehead, because basically Kratos cuts off his head and asks Freya to revive him, and I'll just call him Mehead from now on. Kratos, Atreus, and Mehead are now traveling to Jotunheim onto the tallest mountain just to spread Atreus' mother, also known as Kratos' wife, ashes on the top of the mountain. They encounter many enemies in their travel, including Thor's sons. I forgot their names as well. I'm not really good with mythology names, unless it's something very common like Balder. I mean, you know, bald head, you guys get it. Anyway, so Kratos and Atreus, along with Mehead, meet Thor's son, and both Atreus and Kratos kill both the sons. And I bet Thor wasn't happy about it. So, as we go on, they've encountered many ways of traveling, which basically they travel to the realm. Atreus doesn't know about Kratos' secret of what he did in Olympus. So they had a real relationship with one another, until eventually Kratos came to spoke the truth to Atreus about who he is and what he did before coming to Midgard. Getting close to the final journey, they met again Freya's son, Balder. Kratos did meet him for the first time, but didn't know who he was until he progressed his journey. Meeting Balder again, he knows that Balder is the god of justice, and he can't feel anything, any pain, and death cannot even go near him or touch him. And what I mean by not feeling anything, he cannot feel anything at all, if you guys know what I mean. Wink, wink. Anyway, so knowing that he's pretty much invulnerable to both physical and magic, but when Atreus tried to save his father, Baldur did punch him, but he had an arrow that had a mistletoe. Mistletoes are pretty much the kryptonite for Baldur. Now that Kratos is able to kill him, he did, and his mother Freya is now not really evil, but she's considered having a grudge against Kratos and Atreus. Pretty much anyone related to Kratos, even Meathead. So at the end of the game, get this, Atreus is Loki, the god of mischief. As a young boy, Thor's brother is Atreus, son of Kratos. So he's half god, half giant, and half mortal. That is, wow, mind twist. That is why it was well plotted and connects with mythical history. And then if you get the secret ending, basically travel back to your home where it all started. Somehow Kratos and Atreus slept for 1 whole year, I guess. Well, that's what we all believe, but within years later, Thor just comes in knocking the front door on Kratos' house. Kratos just asks, "Who are you?" And Thor shows his hammer, and that's it. That's the secret ending. No secret fight against him, but you'll know that that's confirmed. God of War 5 is being made right now. Let's get to the gameplay. It's different in a good way since it's a new series and a new era. It's different than the God of War series overall. And it feels like it's The Last of Us mixed with Hellblade. The reason I'm saying that is because, like, again, you have a little companion with you. Pretty much he helps you in anything. Puzzles, combat, pretty much dialogue, anything as well for conversations wise. And like Hellblade is pretty much the same like God of War. Like, it's taken back into the Norse god history where like the gods are pretty much like, wow, they are messed up. There's no QTEs on fighting either the boss until the end of the game and mini bosses. That's like the common thing for God of War. I mean, I like it because when doing those QTEs, it makes me feel like I'm actually executing the boss. It makes me feel like, I can feel God of War power within me too. But yeah, like, that's what kind of disappointed me about the gameplay overall. But everything else was good. Again, it's a new chapter, so we needed to have a new gameplay of God of War since it wanted to flip itself into a new chapter. Characters are, again, like The Last of Us. I've already described of it, but I mean, I'll just describe a little more. Kratos is pretty much like Joel, an old man with an attitude. Atreus, also known as Loki, is pretty much like Ellie. I mean, kid with an attitude, actually able to help out no matter what situation you're in. Kratos fits his character well as he got older and more wiser. Atreus has that spunky child self even while being with Kratos most of his time and develops himself to a wise and smart child like his father. Meathead, he's only knowledgeable in story. Well, he does help in combat. If you're about to be attacked from behind, he'll let you know. But he doesn't kind of help out like obstacle courses or anything else. The design looks really memorable. It's amazing, especially the architecture of the platforms related to the history and mythology, along with the Norse god and all the characters itself. It's really like well designed, especially like the giant serpent. The platforms when climbing up the mountains or climbing in other platforms, even walking in snow, it just looks amazing, the game is. For the mythology, the Norse gods from both game and history book have a similar concept but different results upon their life. It's small, but it's missing some relation history with the Norse god themselves. Basically, like an example, Freya is also called Frigg, and she has 2 other children besides Baldur. Along, like, they haven't even mentioned her husband at all. And what happened to Thor's wife, Sif? I mean, nothing mentioned about her. I mean, I thought she would be right beside Thor at the secret ending, but nope. I guess it's just Thor. The pros of this game is the story is well plotted. The design looks amazing, and it connects well with mythology itself. The con about this game is both gameplay and characters are like The Last of Us. No QTEs on bosses overall, and there are some missing key elements within the mythology itself. So for my final verdict, it's an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching and hearing my commentary and review of this game. Peck the like and peck the subscribe button just to help me be part of the YouTube gaming community. This is peck324, signing out.